everyone, hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm Alana and I am the founder of ethēra, and on this channel I'm talking about my journey of starting an aromatherapy business based here in Christchurch, New Zealand from scratch. This week I'm going to be talking about how the week has gone for ethēra and some of the wins and the challenges that I've experienced. And yes, I am sick. I caught a cold. Wins this week. Win number one. So I've been applying for a number of markets and I got into the Ōtautahi Pride market, which I am really excited for. Unfortunately, I do have another market that I've signed up for that day, but I really want to be present for Pride as a very proud Pride ally. So we'll see if maybe me and my partner can tag team it and make it work. Win number two for the week is I had an in-person meeting with my business mentor. I have 10 free sessions with a business mentor through startup ethēra. She asked if I had started thinking about a strategy and a plan for the upcoming expo in March, and I don't really have much experience with coming up with strategies or plans for this kind of stuff. So I hadn't really thought a lot about it and I wasn't giving it too much attention, but it definitely gave me a kick up the butt to realize that I'm spending a lot of money on this expo and showcase there, and I really kind of need a plan and to set a goal and come up with a strategy on how I'm going to achieve that goal. I might talk more about this and dive deep into this next week. Just to add, if there's anything that you are curious about or want me to talk more about, just let me know in the comment below. So win number three for this week is I did some R&D on soap. So I've come up with a new soap called Rose Quartz and it went really well. It's beautiful. I'm really happy with the result. There's definitely some tweaks that I want to make to it, but it'll be a beautiful addition to the ethēra collection. I'm really happy with the result of my first attempt. And win number four for the week is I actually uploaded a reel on my socials of me cutting the Rose Quartz soap that I did for R&D. And it gained quite a bit of traction, more so than my usual reels or my more recent reels, I would say. I'm definitely noticing a bit of a pattern here. People definitely seem to watch process videos a lot more than they watch videos where basically a picture has been turned into a reel. All right, so let's talk January markets. So if you watched my last video from last week, you know that the biggest challenge that I'm currently facing is cash flow. It's January. I knew it was going to be really difficult, but it's actually proving to be more challenging than I had even expected. So to go back, the website has been online since mid-November and online sales have been moving really slowly. I haven't had many online sales. And I can talk about that more in another video, maybe next week as well. But what I'm hearing through talking to other business people is that it is quite normal for a new company to not get much sales online, especially in the area of the products that I'm producing, because people really like to touch and smell the products and interact with them for the first time before they know which ones they're going to buy. Also because people need to build trust in the brand before buying online, and then once they know, okay, I like these smells, then they know what to buy and then they go online. So the vast majority of my income / cash flow right now is coming from markets, not online sales. Markets are mostly outdoors, very hard work obviously, and they are weather dependent. And the start of January hasn't been kind to Christchurch weather-wise. Also, something that I've learned is markets are not made equally for me. Some are good for me and some aren't good for me. The ones that aren't good for me might be good for other vendors, but they're just not a right fit for me. So obviously when you go to a market, you have stall fees, and for most markets, you have to pay ahead of time. And if the weather doesn't cooperate on the day, too bad, you lose your money. Some markets will actually postpone to another date, so you've already paid for it, but then the market gets postponed and you can make your money back, but it's just postponed to a future date. Market stall fees vary drastically in price, and other factors are some are obviously closer than others, so driving time and petrol and mileage are obviously something else to consider in the cost of going to a market. So for this first year of ethēra, my plan was to do as many markets as I can possibly get into. Firstly, just to get ethēra out into the community, make people aware that ethēra exists, but also I knew that markets was probably going to be my primary source of cash flow, whilst I try to build an online presence / make sales online / make income from other sources. But also, another reason why I wanted to do as many markets as I possibly can is to learn which markets are actually a good fit for me. Let's do a bit of a dive into the Christchurch market scene. I'm going to switch to this Excel file and show you my screen.
Okay, everyone, so we're in my Excel file here, and this is showing my January markets. So total of 5 markets, market A through E. Market A was 2 days and it rained both days. Market B was a 1-day market, new market, so there weren't too many people there. Market C is postponed. The weather was bad, so it got postponed until February, so it'll happen. But obviously, I've already paid my stallholder fees and haven't made money from that market yet. Then market D was a 3-day market, and unfortunately, the weather was really bad, so I only set up for 1 day out of the 3 days. And market E is coming up on Saturday. However, luckily, my stallholder fees are free because they're just letting me try it out. It is predominantly more a food market, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, they very kindly waived the stallholder fees for me. So column B is my total sales for each market. So I did 3 markets in January. So 378 market A, 111 at market B, and 178 in market D. So that's a total of 667. And you can see my stallholder fees in column C. So total stallholder fees for January was 375. So my total sales, 667 minus 375 is 387, which is what I have left over after paying my stallholder fees. But that's not actually my profit. My profit, rough estimate on $667 would be about $400. So $400 minus the 375 means that my actual take home cash is $25 from the 3 markets that I've done in January. And in column E, you can see my market hours. So these are just the stall holder opening hours. They don't include getting to and from the venue. It doesn't include packing the car and unloading the car when you get back home. It doesn't include setup and pack down at the market. It's just the number of hours that the stall is open for. And in column F, you can see the total sales after paying the stall holder fees per hour. But again, this isn't my actual profit.
All right, so let's talk about some of the challenges and the losses that I've experienced this week. So obviously my main challenge is the cash flow, which we've just talked about. But my biggest loss for this week is I had booked an indoor market on Valentine's Day at a local mall, which unfortunately has been cancelled due to low vendor interest. There is a more popular market happening that day, but unfortunately they've just never responded to my applications. I'm thinking of popping in to try and find the organizer and have a chat with her and say hello and introduce myself. Thing is, what happens with these markets is they have established relationships with vendors. So they can be quite hard to get into sometimes. If you happen to be selling the same product or similar to a vendor that they've already got a working relationship with, especially for a long period of time, because firstly, they don't want their market to have too much of a certain type of stall or product, but also secondly, they don't want to annoy the other vendors that they already have by bringing in more competition for them. So it can be quite difficult to get into certain good markets. Challenge number 2 that I've experienced this week is obviously dealing with the cash flow, like I've spoken about before, especially with the larger events like the expo coming up in March, which is going to need quite a lot of investment in terms of display, setup, marketing, signage, materials, stuff like that. However, I am very optimistic and hopeful that February is going to be a good month. I'm actively booking more markets and events to keep cash flow coming in, so fingers crossed for me, team. So to wrap up this week's video, there's been some wins, some losses, some challenges, obviously, and I also gave you a bit of a brief on the Christchurch market situation. Things obviously aren't easy, and I never expected them to be easy, but things are definitely looking promising and positive, and I always get really good feedback from people who are interacting with the product. So I have big goals and ambitions for February. Bring it on. If you're running a small business or thinking about starting one, I hope this makes you feel a little less alone in this journey. It is a scary journey, it's a chaotic journey, but a really exciting one. If you're interested in watching someone else build a small business from the ground up, please subscribe, keep watching. I really appreciate you being on this journey with me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye!